Join us for a driving review of the new BMW iX3, the electrified X3. Let's go. The front here of the BMW iX3, you can see almost closed front double kidney in this new electric style. Then blue is the color, and yeah, for me, Thomas Blue favorite. Really cool, especially here with these accentuations in the inside of the kidney. We also have a dark blue color here for today. Headlamps standard with LED, optional the adaptive LED lights, they are also right here, and then they also have a more sophisticated daytime running light. The length is at 4 meters 73, 15'5" or 186 inches, the same as the combustion engine BMW X3. There are different wheels, either 19 or 20 inch, and both in an aerodynamic styling. You can see here, these are the optional 20 inch wheels. Then you have special eye accentuations, like here, BMW i is still the electric brand, and blue contrast here, bright blue contrast in the lower area. So this gives, a little unique styling. Still the crossover wheel arches, and then the classic building form of the X3 with the upright windows. That also gives you a good roundabout visibility. Very interesting paint here, by the way, if you look closely, and you can see almost like sparkling in the paint. Really interesting. Technology-wise, of course, all electric means we have a big battery pack then in here, and it's really in the lower center of the vehicle, and this brings the center of gravity really way lower than with the normal vehicle, about 7.5 centimeters or 3 inches lower, and this then ensures a more sporty driving characteristics, although there's more weight. This is the battery pack here. Yeah, it's a dummy sample. 80 kilowatt hours gross, 74 kilowatt hours net capacity, and this is supposed to give you an official range of 460 kilometers or 285 miles. Then here at the rear you can see design-wise 3-dimensional tail lamps, but that's also normal for this X3 generation. Special for the iX3 is, you have these like diffuser style blue accentuations in the lower part, of course no exhaust, and these were criticized a little bit. I've seen in the comments initially, but I think it's also quite cool. Here also blue ring about the around the BMW logo. We can also see it in the front. By the way, 286 horsepower is the peak output. 6.8 seconds is the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. That's a little bit slower than the comparable BMW X3 30i, but still, definitely reasonably powered this vehicle. And the top speed, of course, all electric, is electric only, 180 kilometers an hour or 110 miles per hour, and rear-wheel drive only, so that stands also for a sporty BMW SUV. And here we also have a white vehicle for you, where these blue contrasts are even more prominent. But if you say now, wait a minute, I just want to have my iX3 look the very same as an X3, besides of the closed kidney and so on, you can also depict the blue contrast and have it just in the frozen gray. There are normal seats and sport seats available, and standard would actually be a Sensatec animal-free cover in black or brown. It almost looks the same as it is right here, also with these patches here, but this is the optional animal skin surface, and the only difference you see there, this has like a double stitching here, which the Sensatec seat would not have, but you really have to know that to see then or feel the difference. Comfort is actually quite good. In the X3 you already have a sophisticated SUV seating position. The BMW X1, is meanwhile also an SUV, not only a crossover anymore, but here the X3 definitely gives you like this grown-up SUV feeling already. Interior overview, typical X3, soft touch dashboard. Then here this infotainment screen is like this popped up, but it's very good to see. You here get standard for the iX3, the otherwise optional BMW Live Cockpit Professional, 10.25 inch on the right, 12.3 inch on the left as for the screens, and OS 7, operating system 7 from the BMW, features Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and both wireless now. Then the GPS map also shows you some charging stations and reacts quite well, so nicely done as for that. Really responsive. And here the digital instruments, standard for the iX3 as I said. And now when I hit the start stop button, listen to the sound, designed by Hans Zimmer. So this is the new electric startup sound. It will be the same for all BMW electric vehicles. And when you shut it off again, and then we can see on the left side the speed, and on the right side here we have the power output, and then we can also see the recuperation meter and so on, and tell you more about it when we drive the vehicle. It's totally fine, really comfortable, enough leg room, and again with 1.86 or 6.1 also enough headroom. Would be a little bit more headroom if you leave out the panoramic roof, but that's totally fine. So comfortable seating here. Then you can control here the back part of the seats a little bit with this lever here in the angle. You can also fold them directly from here. I mean, this is more for the angle, and this in the upper part to fold them directly. As for the trunk, 510 up to 1,560 liters means hardly any compromise as for that. If you compare it to the combustion engine version, really square dimensions, very nicely done. This cover here is also not too bad, easy. So the only thing you lose, you don't have too much space here underneath, but I think we can really live with that. Even loading still, good quality and so on. And to fold the seats, you can also use the mechanism right here, left and right. Good solution, so a very well usable electric vehicle. Let's go. Plop, that's it. And really powerful. And I think the electric sound is actually quite nice. You know, it gives you indeed a little bit more of a feeling of what's happening. And this can actually be quite good for driver and co-driver, because sometimes, you know, you have like a spontaneous acceleration from electric vehicles and your brain doesn't really cope with it because it's so fast and there's no sound feedback. So just as a difference, when I'm in the comfort mode and do an acceleration, and then again when I'm in the sport mode and do acceleration, you know, it's a little bit louder. The steering input is really good, and you feel the low center of, wow, it's really amazing. I can just stress that. Due to the low center of gravity, the car feels so sporty. Let's drive a little bit faster on the motorway. We can also do that. We are right now at the moment unlimited speed. Oh, come on, let's go to the sports mode once more. And even here in the high speed areas, you can still accelerate very well, 160 kilometers an hour. Wow. And how silent and stable the car is remaining. Adaptive suspension is standard for this vehicle. Here in the sports mode, it's set a little bit stiffer, but great balance between comfort and sportiness, even here with the 20-inch wheels. So 19-inch would be a little bit more comfortable, but 20-inch still work. Here at 170 kilometers an hour, we start to pick up a little bit of wind noise, but still, I mean, we're driving an SUV. It's an upright car, and it's super silent. Also here, high speed on the motorway. Wow, so awesome, so flawless here in the driving. I'm really, really impressed. Good overview also to the rear, to the sides, upright building style. This is like a very, very good mid-size SUV. And I mean, just from the customer experience, from driving and what it delivers, probably now one of the best mid-size SUV overall. Also set the cruise control here. There's the assistant driving function or just the distance control, so both is actually available. And with the assisted driving, the car is also keeping me in the lane, like this. Active lane keeping assist, and quite good centered, not too intrusive. There's also blind spot monitor, we can see it right here, and when I put the turning indicators, then also starts to flash as an additional warning. I'm at the moment in normal driving mode, and it's about the adaptive recuperation. This is standard for the vehicle. So
When I'm just rolling, the car is not recuperating at all, using rolling energy, which is more efficient if you want to cover more distance. Then, if you want to decelerate anyway, recuperation makes sense, of course, instead of using the normal brakes. And that's happening when you use the normal brakes. That's happening when you are in this B mode, or stronger recuperation, but also then here in the adaptive recuperation mode. So when the car is in front of us here now and they are decelerating, also the adaptive recuperation does that. So I'm gaining back the energy. Or when like there's a next intersection or when there's a next traffic light, for example, then this adaptive recuperation is active, and thus BMW claims is the most efficient driving mode. The B mode would be the mode you go in for when you want the one pedal feeling. However, the thing is, when this adaptive recuperation is really so intelligent, probably you won't need it. And then it's actually good when you have situations. I'll cancel the cruise control now. Let's just test it. So I'm running towards this truck, and indeed, strong recuperation without setting cruise control or something. So it works without GPS data, without cruise control and so on, no problem. And here now, again in front of the truck, strong recuperation. What would be the difference? Here the B mode. So when I get off the throttle, strong recuperation, and it's really notable deceleration. But that's always happening then. So now when we take a look, we had more like constant speed now, and this about the 16 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers, fuel economy, well, energy economy, we have to say now. So used to these vocabularies. And 16 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers would actually exactly hit the projected official range figure of 460 kilometers or 285 miles.
And now to our conclusion for today with the all-new BMW iX3, the EV of the X3. First of all, exterior, the basic dimensions are of course the same, it's not too different. The blue accentuations, I found them pretty cool. I think it's a unique design feature, but again, as I said, you can also de-pick them if you rather want a normal look, as it is also with the combustion engine models. Interior, you have reasonable space, as you know from the X3, and you already have an upright, grown-up SUV feeling and seating positions. And there are also no compromises here for the electric version, so you can also very well use the trunk and so on. A high build quality as well. A little bit sad that they do not offer more animal skin alternatives, but you can get the base comfort seats then with the Sensatec. That will do just fine, just not in this test vehicle here today. And also then the Sensatec both in black and also in this brown color. So the color is the same for today, also available if you want a little bit more spiced up color right there. Then driving wise, it's just phenomenal. It drives so well. It is sporty due to the low center of gravity. Due to the additional weight, it feels so sporty in driving. It has a spontaneous acceleration. This is also really cool, especially from the get-go. So just a flawless driving experience, both super sporty, agile and fun. At the same time, can be driven very efficiently. So even at higher autobahn speeds, if you put cruise control, 16 kilowatt hours on 1 kilometers is a realistic figure. So that would indeed be the official range of 460 kilometers or 285 miles. So quite impressed as for that. They obviously really found an efficient concept here for their new all-electric vehicle. And this strategy here, that they put the very same core car and not put a separate EV platform, this will be the same now for all BMW Group vehicles. When we see, for example, the BMW i4, which will, so to speak, the electrified 3 or 4 series, this will basically follow the same concept. So very interesting to see also this different strategy here now from the Volkswagen AG, for example. And yeah, I can just stress again, this is to me one of the best vehicles of the year in driving, especially efficient and fun at the same time. And I mean, it's not a new vehicle at all. The BMW X3 in this generation has been out there. Of course, now the electrified version is now all new. But it's really interesting how an existing vehicle can be made so much better as for the whole experience you have with that you are basically blown away. And that doesn't happen so often when I drive the new cars. So really, really cool. The question is then, again, as I said in the driving part, do you have the proper charging infrastructure? And is your driving profile like not, salesman, 50,000 kilometers, 30,000 miles a year? So if you don't commute like every day, so many, miles or kilometers, and if you have the charging infrastructure, then the electrified version is also very interesting. Sadly, the BMW iX3, the electric version, will not be sold in the US so far. BMW does not expect this to be a significant market. Would like to hear the comments from our friends in the US to that. They expect China to be the main market, and then, of course, also Europe. And as for pricing, the very first communicated price was 68,000 euros for the German market. However, this is also a highly spec'd vehicle, so you have a lot of included equipment already if you compare to the base X3. And then if you put a high-spec X3 combustion engine, the difference is not that large anymore. Then if you count in some governmental benefits and tax benefits, it can be even out a little bit more. And BMW also announced that they want to, step by step reduce the price of the iX3 to get it closer to the combustion engine models. What else was criticized here? That this car is only built in China for the world market. Quality-wise, you do not see any difference to X3 that is built in Spartanburg in the US, or for example, also if you think about BMWs that are built in Germany or something, so they have the same quality measures and so on, and the same standards as for that. Still, some people rather want to have a BMW built in Germany or in the US. You can also, of course, understand that. And last but not least, what's your opinion here on the BMW iX3? Really looking forward to your questions and also to your opinion in the comments. It's a very, very interesting vehicle, and yeah, as I said, to me, one of the most striking ones of the year, although it's based on an existing vehicle, but even interesting that by electrifying it, you can actually make it so much better. So, thank you so much for tuning in today. See you next time.